evening, everyone. Or actually, it's good afternoon, everybody. Call this meeting to order. It's the Finance Administration Committee and a special meeting of the Board of Directors of West Basin Municipal Water District. Today is Friday, August 15th. And with that, let's please determine if we have a quorum. EJ.
Director Favai.
Here.
Chairman Scott Houston.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez. Director Gloria Gray.
Here.
Director Don Deere. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So with that, public comment, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
We've not received any requests for public comment, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to speak, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. Mr. Chairman, I cannot see any requests.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on. So item 4 is presentations. And we have an update, small and community bank program from Malaga Bank. Did I say that right?
You say Malaga, but if you're in Spain, it's Malaga.
Yeah. See, and I was trying to catch myself. So, so we have it. We have an update. And so with that, EJ, I'll let you introduce this item. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're very excited to have our guest today. It's Ms. Julia Parkman. She's the first Vice President, Business Development Manager for Malaga Bank. And this item does include a presentation. It's on begins on packet page 4. And so I'll throw it over to Ms. Parkman.
So much for having me again this year. Last year was Sasha. She has moved on to go back to teaching. So I'm lucky enough to come and present to you all. So, and I do know this was in the board packet, so you've, I'm sure, reviewed it, and I'll just kind of touch on some highlights that I'm very proud of with the bank, Malaga Bank, based in Malaga Cove Plaza. That's where we are headquartered. So if somebody is going to, you can go to, so this is just highlights of the bank, no changes. Our slogan is safe, sound, and local, and that's what we are. We're well capitalized. We operate 5 full branches, 1 loan center. So we do cover the South Bay area. You can go to the next slide. So just some highlights. We are and have been continued with the Bauer Financial as top 5-star rated bank. We were also, again, this year awarded Daily Breeze Annual Reader's Choice as South Bay's best bank, which we're very proud of. We also celebrated 40 years in the community, which is amazing for a community bank. We should have been swallowed up by now, but we're not set up to be sold. We're not looking, and the board of directors would like the bank to continue. This year, well, actually last year, we started to accumulate our volunteer hours. Also, the amount of money that we are giving back to the community, to our nonprofit partners, and also how many groups we're supporting. So this is found on our website, and we update it monthly, and we're very proud of the hours that we give back to the community. Next slide. Great. So this last year, our president and CEO, Randy Bowers, was honored as a visionary leader by the Torrance Chamber of Commerce, which was a fun event to get him out and into the public for all of the stuff that he allows me to do and all of our managers to get out into the community and support back. So I'm glad he was honored for that. The next page, it has a couple of our testimonial clients. Sorry, going so fast for you. So we go out and ask some of our partners if they'd like to give us testimonials, and 100% of the time it's always yes, we'd love to. These are 2 of the most recent testimonials that I'm really proud of. It's El Camino Foundation and the Palos Verdes Performing Arts. Both are great nonprofit organizations serving our community from Torrance to Palos Verdes. The next page highlights some of our community support last year. We're very involved with Harbor Interfaith, We have food collections. We're going to do food collections this year. We always meet as a team of managers to decide what's more important for the community. We think right now it's food insecurity. So that's what we'll be working on this year, but this is some of the projects that we did last year. I was chair of the Toberman. I sit on the board now, but we do a lot of community events for the neighborhood in San Pedro, and one of those is the toy drive for Christmas.
What's that?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh.
Director Bond.
Yeah,
Director Deere.
good morning.
She said you didn't have
Uh,
to say
next-
anything.
They
Next page
said,
just
hello,
shows-
Mr. Deere. What is it? Oh, I
No, we
can't
have a
talk to both of you at
presentation.
once. So goodbye, George. Okay, thanks, George.
Okay. This next page just also highlights some of the other nonprofits or organizations that we belong to. We have 3 of our managers that are involved in Rotary groups in different locations. I have chaired the Schweitzer Center Learning Center, still sit on their board. The San Pedro Relay of Life, we're very involved in, and also Torrance Police Foundation. I sit on their board as well. This year with fraud increasing incredibly, I think PD Estates Police had a 600% increase in fraud. Check writing, washing is number 1. And just the scams that are, that are unfortunately our elderly population has experienced. We went out and collaborated with the Palos Verdes Estates PD, and we've been holding financial crimes and education workshops, a series of them. So we've done 5 already. We're going to do another couple. And this has been very well received. We get about 80 people per presentation. We also went down to San Pedro and worked with LA Harbor Division. We went to an HOA there. And so the more we can educate folks about don't put your checks in the mail, or if you can find an alternative to writing checks, it'll save them a lot of money and grief. So we've been really amping up on that. We'll probably do more this year. One of my favorite, I just put this in here because this is probably dear to my heart. And I know Director Houston helped out with this as well. The Mend to Bend dinners were started in October of last year. That was to feed those that were affected by the landslide in Palos Verdes when they lost all utilities except water. But we fed about 300 people a week for 6 weeks. And it was the most, we brought them in, and as you can see, the bottom picture, I think, says it all. The first week, there was maybe 100, 150 people that came. Most of them took their food back home. But then as they started to sit down, have fellowship, break bread, it became a weekly therapy session for them. They were able to talk to their neighbors, find out what they were using, solar, gas, Starlink. And so I think it really made a difference on the community. And that's what the philosophy is at Malaga Bank. And that's what I'm so happy that the president and CEO allows me to get out there and do that as a representative of the bank. So I just wanted to highlight that one because I'm proud of that one. The next page just shows our 40th anniversary. We were really thrilled to be in the community for 40 years and give back. And with our anniversary, we decided to give back even further. So we had a little bit of a contest for anyone. It didn't have to be a client of the bank. We picked 5 winners. They each got $500. And then to expand that, we asked the winners to pick a nonprofit of their choice, and we donated $500 to each of these nonprofits as well. So you can see the theme here is we definitely give back to the community as a local bank. The next page, next 2 pages highlights just our involvement in the community. Our CEO is still very involved. Our CFO is involved. And as you can see, I'm very involved in a lot of nonprofits to give back, and I love it. The second page shows 3 of our branch managers that I also help get involved, find the right nonprofit or organization for them to get involved and give back as well. So the second page has our managers. And our CRA rating is still outstanding for OCC. And then the last page just lists our loans by division for West Basin. And that recaps my community bank presentation. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions if there are.
Well, very good. Thank you so much, Julia, for being here today. And I'll open it up real quick to my colleagues. So Director Travai, did you have any questions?
You know, I just, I wanted to touch on what you mentioned, Mend the Bend, when it comes to giving back to the community and what they went through when you know, with the landslides and stuff. And, you know, it kind of hit me too, because, you know, that's what we do when it comes to labor, you know, on what I do as a career. And giving back to the community is a big deal. And I just want to commend your organization and Malaga Bank for doing all the great stuff that you do for the community.
Director, do you have any questions?
Director Deere, if you can hear us, you'll need to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
With that, you know, let me just say just a couple things really briefly. I think, first of all,
Hi,
we
Director
so value.
Houston.
Oh, and
Chair
Director
Houston.
Gray's here. Yeah,
I'm
we hear you,
here. Can I
Director
say
Gray.
something?
Welcome,
Can I,
President Gray.
can I make a can I make a comment?
Of course you can. Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to touch on what Director Sabay said and add to that. I really commend this particular bank because community banking is all about what was presented today. It really is about giving back to the community. So I want to commend that bank for what they do. The young lady described all the things that they were doing, and it really does have a great impact on your community. So congratulations again for what you do for the community.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Director
Thank
Chair Houston.
Perfect.
I
Thank
can
you.
echo those comments
And,
too. I agree.
There we go. That was a ditto.
Am I still muted?
So I will just say also quickly,
Okay, I'll probably.
you know, I think we definitely appreciate the partnership, and of course, you know, Malaga Bank is, you know, I think, you know, I mean, this presentation shows it probably one of the most involved banks in our South Bay, Greater South Bay communities, which, as President Gray said, is kind of unheard of these days, sadly. And I'm glad to hear that the bank has every intention to stay independent. And it is important how these banks that are in our South Bay, you know, do give back and participate. And it's really about the smaller businesses and organizations. I want to say also very briefly too, I'm glad you brought up the fraud education thing. So I wasn't aware you're doing that. I think it's fabulous because, you know, some know, some don't. I sit on the LA County Commission for Older Adults. And literally we just had this conversation the other day at a meeting, as well as we're planning our, you know, we do a fiscal year planning. So we look at, you know, topics for the next fiscal year, but all this to be said, it was heavily brought up. Scams, we're targeting our older adults. They're just unscrupulous, of course, and they're very sophisticated. I mean, even some of the things I've seen and gotten personally, it's really crazy. So I do think every which way we can educate our older populace and work with law enforcement, we have to. It's not going away. So I just want to say thank you for that. Definitely want to know more about that in the future. And that's actually good for all of us. I still send just a couple checks a month, but I'm hearing very bad stories. So I think I'm going to have to start even not doing that anymore and finally go completely online. But these are scary times, and our older adults are good, definitely targeted. So just wanted to thank you for that and commend you. Okay. So with that, thank you always for the flexibility you give to this district. We are very, very proud to partner and, always enjoy getting to work together and see you in the community. As well as, I'm sure Director Favalle will probably see you more as the board member that represents the peninsula and, in Carson as well. So with that, thank you, Juliet and your team and, Randy and everybody over there.
I appreciate it.
I just, Malaga. Always nice to meet Malaga Bank. Okay, thank you,
Thank you so
Juliet.
much for having me again. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yes, all right,
Thank you.
have a great weekend, thank you. Okay, so with that,
Mr. Chairman,
Bye. Thank you.
yes.
I did want to also note that City First Bank has sent us a presentation, unfortunately, due to staffing issues. They are not able to attend, and so I'll circulate that to the entire board for your review, and hopefully at a later date, we can get somebody from City First Bank.
Which bank was that again?
City First Bank.
City First, okay. Great. Thank you. All right, so with that, I know we got a bit of an agenda here, so let's move. Let's see, action calendar 5A, approval of the minutes. TJ, if you will please introduce that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this begins on packet page 17. And for the presentation, we do have Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration.
Good afternoon, members of the committee and board. As EJ noted, approval of minutes can be found beginning on packet page 17. The minutes for the West Basin Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings are an integral part of the public meeting process. Minutes provide a history of the actions taken at board meetings, which is informative not only for members of the public, but for other stakeholders as well. Minutes for the July 28, 2025 regular board meeting have been attached for consideration and can be found beginning on packet page 19. With that, I would like to read the recommendation that the board approve the July 28, 2025 regular board meeting minutes.
Okay, great, thank you. Desiree, let's see, any questions, Director Favalle? Minutes. Let's see, any directors, does anybody else have questions on the minutes? And I don't either, so with that, I would recommend it goes to the board for approval. Director Favalle?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So there we go. Thank you. 5B is in boy, approved sponsorship of fiscal year 25-26 community outreach events. We've got 5 of those. If you can go through those fairly quickly when we get to it, and then we'll take all the questions at the end on that, okay?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We do have Hazel Vasquez, our Deputy Board Secretary for this item, and it begins on packet page 24.
PJ, good afternoon. Chairman Houston, Director Favalle, members of the board. As EJ mentioned, this item begins on packet page 24, and I'll do my best to brief. So the first that I have for you, the City of Carson is hosting its annual Cajun and Blues White Linen Affair event on Saturday, September 6th. Director Favalle recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the Cajun and Blues White Linen Affair for $2,500. That sponsorship would grant West Basin a speaking opportunity, a booth to distribute district information, as well as an advertisement in the form of logo placement on event materials. West Basin has not previously sponsored this event, but documents that were submitted by the organizers for this year's request are included in attachment A, and you can find that on packet page 28. The next item is one coming from New Challenge Ministries. They're hosting their annual Black Tie Extravaganza on Saturday, September 20. Director Deere recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the 9th annual Black Tie Extravaganza for $2,500. The sponsorship would grant West Basin a speaking opportunity, and an advertisement in the form of logo placement on event materials. West Basin has not previously sponsored this event, but the documents that the organizers submitted for this year's request are included in attachment B for your review on packet page 32. Next up, Community's Child is hosting its annual fall fundraiser on Saturday, October 4th. Director Houston recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the annual fall fundraiser for $500. This sponsorship would grant West Basin an advertisement in the form of a logo with conservation messaging placement on event materials, including print ads, e-blasts, social media posts, and the event program. West Basin last sponsored this event in 2024 for the same amount of $500, and we received similar advertisement opportunities at the time. The documents that the organizers submitted for this year's request are included in attachment C beginning on packet page 36. Moving along, the 25th Annual Special Needs Friendship Festival that is being presented by AYSO and Little League is being held on Saturday, October 18th. President Gray recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the Friendship Festival for $2,500. This sponsorship would grant West Basin a booth to distribute district information and an advertisement in the form of logo placement on event materials. West Basin last sponsored this event in 2024 for the same amount of $2,500 and received similar benefits. The documents submitted by the organizers for this year's request are included in attachment D beginning on packet page 40. The last item for your consideration today is the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. They are hosting their 30th annual award ceremony on Thursday, October 30th. President Gray recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the award ceremony for $5,000. This sponsorship would grant West Basin an advertisement promoting district programs as well as logo placement on various marketing and event materials. The sponsorship would also provide tickets to the event, and West Basin last sponsored this event in 2024 for $3,500. We received at that time a half-page advertisement, similar logo placements, their various event materials, and tickets to the event. The documents that these organizers submitted for this year's request are included in attachment E, and that's beginning on packet page 44. And as always, just to keep you apprised of the budget for this program, every year we do budget $75,000 as we did in this fiscal year for this program. Approving the sponsorships presented to you today and the amounts that have been requested, totaling $13,000, would leave a remaining balance of $45,050, and that is shown in detail on attachment F beginning on packet page 49. With that, I will start reading these recommendations.
Go ahead.
Number 1, Director Favai recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the City of Carson's Cajun and Blues White Linen Affair event on Saturday, September 6, 2025, in the amount of $2,500. Number 2, Director Deere recommends that the board approve sponsorship of New Challenge Ministries' 9th annual Black Tie Extravaganza event on Saturday, September 20, 2025, in the amount of $2,500. Number 3, Director Houston recommends that the board approve sponsorship of Community's Child annual fall fundraiser 2025 on Saturday, October 4, 2025, in the amount of $500. Number 4, President Gray recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the AYSO Little League's 25th annual Special Needs Friendship Festival on Saturday, October 18, 2025, in the amount of $2,500. And last but not least, number 5, President Gray recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the South Bay WIB's 30th annual award ceremony on Thursday, October 30, 2025, in the amount of $5,000. With that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I don't object to any of these. I would like to ask President Gray, on the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, it looks like we're recommending 5,000, but last year we did 3,500. And so just in the interest of watching our costs and what we do get for value, I'm wondering if we could stay at the $3,500 level again this year, President Gray. If you'd like to opine on that.
Well, let me ask the question. Is 3,500 a level, and how does it compare to the 5,000? I don't have the document in front of me, so maybe staff can answer that.
Sure.
Happy to do so. So there is a $3,500 level. That is the gold sponsorship level. Some of the differences there is so we would get the same amount of tickets. 10 tickets would be included with both sponsorships. The only difference would be the location of the table. The platinum sponsorship of $5,000 would have a more prominent placement for that table of 10. There's also a difference in the size of advertisement. The $5,000 would give us a full page advertisement in their program, whereas the $3,500 would give us half page. And then there are a couple other minor differences with the logo placement. So The $5,000 would just give us more prominent placement of our logo, whereas the $3,500 would give us just lower level. Sometimes the logo appears a little smaller and things of that sort, but the main differences would be in the size of the ad and the location of the table that would be included.
Okay, well then, I think it's okay to consider the 3,500.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gray. Yeah, because there's not a lot of difference in the two and I think they still get plenty for the 3,500 and so just being cautious for all of us about where we're at already in the fiscal year. So thank you for that. Let's see, any other questions? I'll do Director Fabai, any questions on any of these?
Oh, Director.
Good. Director Gray, any other questions?
No, thank you though. Thank you, Chair.
And Director Deere, if you have any questions. With that, I think we're pretty clear here. So it's all of these are as written or indicated, except for that last one. So number 5, we'll change it to the amount of $3,500 for gold sponsorship for the WIB. And with that, I would say let's please move this forward to the board's approval. And Director Fabai.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, now the next one is 5C as in cat. Consider fiscal year 25-26 district sponsorship request. We have one item. So this is coming from BizFed. And if you will please introduce that item, EJ.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again, for this presentation, we do have Hazel Vasquez. The item begins on packet page 50.
Hello again. I will be presenting this on behalf of Carla, so I hope I do her justice. So we have one item for your consideration today. The BizFed Institute invited West Basin to sponsor their 4th annual Water Resiliency Forum that's being held on Friday, September 19th. The Resiliency Forum, as some of you may be aware, is an annual event that congregates various stakeholders to discuss complex water challenges such as supply, distribution, and aging infrastructure. This year in particular, the focus includes Pure Water Los Angeles and the Delta Conveyance Project. Additional details regarding the event itself can be found in the brochure for this event, and that's included in attachment A beginning on packet page 52. As far as sponsorship opportunities, these range beginning with $2,500 at the grassroots level and going up to $25,000 at the title sponsorship level. The district most recently sponsored this event in 2023 and 2024 at the community level for $5,000 and the grassroots $2,500 level respectively. Details regarding sponsorship packages are included in attachment B, which begins on packet page 56, and attachment C on packet page 57, which offers an at-a-glance comparison of the packages available. At this time, Director C. Houston is recommending West Basin sponsor this resiliency forum at the community level for $5,000, granting the district various marketing opportunities, including social media posts, logo placement on digital and print event material, and complimentary registration. So the funds available for this sponsorship for fiscal year 25-26, $55,000 was budgeted. Year to date, we have $44,500 available for the sponsorship, and details on that are shown in attachment D, beginning on packet page 58. And with that, I will read the recommendation. Director Houston recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of BizFed Institute's 4th annual Water Resiliency Forum to be held on Friday, September 19th in the city of Whittier in the amount of $5,000. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I believe Carla is online as well in case there's anything I can't answer for you today.
Very good, thank you. Just remind me, we sponsored last year and I think it was the same, I think.
Last year, so in 2023, we sponsored for $5,000. In 2024, that level was brought down to $2,500.
Got it. So we've consistently sponsored the event. It's a really great event if no one's been. The BizFed Institute puts together some really good diverse panels. We posted it at Metropolitan Water District before. This year we're going to be out in Whittier. because of where we got some space. But again, I'm really happy to partner up with them on this. And as you see, we're already starting to get some really good speakers who will be present. But with that, I think we should, entertain the $5,000 level this year. Other than that, I have no more comments. Director Pavaye, questions? Go ahead.
And I agree with the recommendation. I think that, and I like to attend too, because I think the subjects that are being, brought up are the subjects that we should be involved with, when it comes to aging infrastructure, the Delta conveyance and others. So I think this is a great, recommendation to move forward.
Very good. Thank you. Let's see. Anyone else? Director Gray, any?
Yeah,
Questions?
I do have comments, Chair. Thank
Okay,
you.
go ahead.
I'd
Yeah.
like to know what the grassroots level is and what that gives us. We did
Yeah.
sponsor it at a lower amount last year, and as you mentioned before, this item, we're concerned about our expenditures. So the organization, great organization, but I think the grassroots level, what is that level amount?
Good.
So the grassroots level is $2,500. The differences here is with that, we would not get any type of social media posts associated with it. The community level at $5,000 does offer one social media post. It also gives us less complimentary registrations to attend. The $2,500 gives us one versus the $5,000, which gives us two. And then the bigger difference would be with the logo placements and mentions in the digital and print media, as well as in their sponsorship video. We would go from having a logo prominently displayed versus with the $5,000 level versus $2,500, which would only mention us. So it would just be West Basin in type. It would just be written out. We would not have our logo there.
Yeah. And how many people went last year? You said the 25 would give us one and 5 would give us 2 spaces. So is there more than one? I know Director Houston is on the board there. So is there any other person that is going for us to do another few $1,000s for this?
For last year specifically, I don't have that off the top of my head. I can get that information for you. For this year, so far, we have, as you just heard, Director Pavaye mentioned that he'd be interested in attending. There are 2 complimentary registrations with the $5,000. So if Director Pavaye would like to attend, there would leave a second registration available at that $5,000 level, whereas with the $2,500, it would only be the one. And so we would offer that to Director Pavaye if he's interested in attending. But if any other directors wanted to attend, then we would have to purchase individual tickets.
How much are the tickets?
That I
Individual
will need.
tickets. Pardon me?
I will need a second to get that information for you, Director Gray.
Okay, well, those are my comments. I think we should look at if it's just a matter of having another director attend and the tickets are more reasonable than going to the $5,000 level. Those are my comments. That's what, I'm not on the committee, but that's what I would recommend.
And I do have an answer as far as the tickets. They range in price from $100 to $150 with like early bird and that sort of thing. So there wouldn't be much of a difference there. Or I mean, it wouldn't be too much of a cost if we had to purchase individual tickets. And then I did also want to point out that one of the factors that may have been considered for last year as to why we did the lower amount of $2,500 was that the event happened in June. So we were at the tail end of our budget and didn't really have much money to go around. Not to say that in any way, justifies going for more. We will leave that at the discretion of the board. But that was a factor that may have played a part in that lower amount last year.
All right, well, Director Houston, I think that was recommended by you. What do you think of my thoughts on it? I mean, is this BizFed? I couldn't hear exactly. What organization?
Yeah, it's for the BizFed Institute, and it's a water resiliency forum. This one
What's
does
your thoughts
come.
about it?
What was that?
I'm sorry. What's your thoughts
no.
about it?
What's your thought about it?
My thought?
About her.
Oh, yeah, I was getting there. You know what,
Oh,
Director Gray, I'm
okay.
open-minded to that, you know, and I totally understand. I mean, this does come out of our water, you know, the budget for the water sponsorships. It's not from the individual director sponsorships. Not that that
Mm-hmm.
necessarily makes a difference. And obviously, if, you know, any board member wants to attend, we can buy tickets for them, you know, so I'm open if that might be something we want to look at, is to look at the $2,500 versus the 5,000, you know.
Yeah, well,
What do
I'll
you-
defer to you.
yeah.
Those were my thoughts, Chair Houston, because I know you're on the committee and BizFed does great work and I'm sure they're gonna have a great panel but those are just kind of my thoughts in terms of when we're talking about money. But I'll
Right,
defer
right.
to your recommendation, whatever you think, as you're on that committee, you're part of that organization. And I know they do good work, so.
Thank you, President Gray. It's like Director Favalle wants to.
Yeah, thank you, President Gray, for your comments, but I just, and Director Houston, you know, touched on it well, was that since the sponsorship money is coming from a different pot, when it comes to, and not coming out of our individual sponsorship considerations, I think this is a good recommendation of moving forward at the $5,000 amount. And then if there's extra tickets that need to be purchased, and I think that's another good recommendation to open up for the rest of our board of directors or our staff that wants to actually go as well too. So.
Right. Yeah, I think for now, let's recommend the $5,000. But I do share your points, Director Gray. And
Yeah.
so I'm open-minded. What was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have had you on mute, but when you finish, just another comment. I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh. Yeah, I'm open-minded if we, you know, discuss it, of course, at the full board meeting. Obviously, the worst case, it goes to the $2,500 level. It's not the end of the world. But I think we should recommend the 5,000 for now, but go ahead, Director Gray, you had a comment?
Oh, Director Favalle mentioned it's not coming out of our sponsorship, but remember, it still comes out of our budget. So I just wanted to make note of that.
Right, that's true.
But like I said, I'm deferring it to you guys, but those are my comments.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you. So with that, why don't we'll just go ahead and move we'll recommend the approval that's on here for the $5,000 level to the full board. So Director Favalle,
Yes.
he concurs, so we'll do that. And thank you, Director Gray, as well, for your thoughts. Let's see, moving on, we have 5D as in dog, adopt a resolution number 8-25-1226, administrative code revisions, amending part 7, records management. So with that, EJ, please introduce that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the next two items are related to West Basin's records management efforts. For this presentation, we do have Stephen Hurst, our records management administrator. And this item begins on packet page 59. Right over to Stephen.
Great, thank you, EJ. Thank you, Director Houston and Director Favalle, for allowing me to present this morning on records management. Records management has been recognized both by the Board of Directors and management as an important component of West Basin. It even has its own separate section in the administrative code. So, program was started back in 2007. The last time it was reviewed and updated was in 2017. So in August of 2024, a program assessment was initiated. And in evaluating our records management program and ensuring the administrative code addresses the key elements of an effective records management program, it was noted that the current policy is outdated erroneously refers to government code and does not provide for clear and concise language on the objectives and administrations of an effective records management program. So staff went through and made necessary updates. We reviewed these updates with our management team and also met with our outside legal counsel to have all these changes reviews that we are proposing to the existing policy, which you see here today in attachment A, which is seen on page 62. The administration code does propose some new language, and it is structured in 3 different articles. I'll just run through the highlights on each of those articles for you. So in Article 1 on Records Management Program, in Section 7-1.101, the program purpose and scope of the program. Majority of these changes here were made to create clarity and understanding. Important text additions that we included in these changes are recognition of the role of the district's risk profile when considering managing our district records. And we also indicate the district's board of directors and management's commitment to the records management program and the implementation of this program. If you look at the objectives section in 7-1.101B, we are adding that we have periodic reviews of and for updating the program, making sure that happens on a fairly regular basis. We also included in the scope of the RMP in letter A, listing the life cycle of the record to ensure all phases of records management are managed. And we also looked at the scope of the records management program in letter D, in recognizing that technology changes fairly rapidly. And rather than listing all the different types of individual ways we can store records, we just recognize that all the different storage mediums that we utilize here at the district are valid. In 7-1.102 in the definition section, we added a term and definition for legal hold release, as well as legal hold process. And then an important designation we also are adding is the fact that drafts will not be recognized as records. This is an important designation. We all know that drafts go through a lot of different iterations and changes. And rather than keeping all of those different drafts, we will recognize the final copy that is produced of different reports and different records here that we produce at West Basin. We also, again, removed, recognizing all the different types of storage formats. We will just, recognize that any storage formats that we use are valid storage formats. In Article 2, under public inspection, one of the most important parts of what we do with records management is our public response and public request records program. So we are updating that to the current government code. It was recodified back in 2021 and made effective back in 2023. So we are updating to respond to the current government section there. And in Article 3, under retention and destruction of records, we are recognizing really just kind of updates to provide better clarity and understanding as we update to current records management standards and best practices. We are again adding that we do an annual review period for our records destruction process to make sure that happens on a regular basis. So the benefits to West Basin, the board does recognize that records are an important information asset and that it details not only the regular business of the district, but it also documents the evolution of the district over the years and as it responds to the changing environment of water. So the management, accountability, and transparency of the records management program must be maintained, reviewed, and updated on a regular basis to ensure that the program is compliant with all applicable requirements. So with that, I'd like to read the recommendation for today. That the board approve, adopt, and authorize the president to sign resolution number 08-25-1226, the resolution of the Board of Directors of West Basin Municipal Water District, amending the West Basin Municipal Water District Administrative Code as it relates to the records management policy. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I had just two things. One is the fact that instead of calling it destruction, it's disposition. I mean, why is that?
It kind of refers to the whole process of the disposition at the end of a record's life cycle. It can either be retained permanently or it can be destroyed. So because there are two different options there, we call it a disposition and not just destruction.
And then just offhand, how long are some of these records held or maintained, you know, by?
We maintain records from as short as 2 years to as long as permanent, depending on the content of the record. A lot of the permanent records are things like our board minute meetings and that kind of thing. Some of our shortest ones are just the different records that we need to do for administrative records to kind of keep things flowing within each department.
And then the last one I had was, you know, drafts, and you talked about, and I see it in here, but so obviously what you don't do is, they're not records. So
No.
drafts, I mean, maybe, was that something that was a record before, or we're just clarifying? How did people look at drafts?
We're just clarifying it at this point. With our California Public Records Act, it actually declares drafts as non-records as well. So we just really wanted to include that within our administrative code so that it does, you know, create that distinction and makes it just more accessible and defined.
We're in line with the state.
Absolutely.
And as far as, and I heard you went through this with legal counsel, so they're clear with it. They're good.
Yep.
Very sure. Good. All right. So with that, Director Favalle, any questions or comments?
No questions. This is pretty straightforward.
Director Gray, any questions?
No, thank you, Chair, and I have to leave the meeting, so please excuse me, I have to leave it, but no questions, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, take care, bye-bye.
Let's see, Director Diera, any questions? No, I fully agree. I think with Director Favalle, pretty cut and dry, although it's amazing how much language got changed for, you know, something that's kind of cut and dry. But I'm glad that we're updating things. And I also like that you mentioned we'll do it a little more frequently, you know, just to stay abreast of any adjustments that we need to do. Very good idea. So thank you for your work on this. So with that, on this item, I would recommend that these changes go forward with approval from the committee.
Yes.
Wonderful. And then I heard there's a next part to this. So 5E, as in Edward, approval of records retention schedule. So with that, EJ, please.
Hand it back over to Stephen Hurst again.
Very good.
This item does begin on packet page 71.
Great, thanks, EJ. As part of the review, we also needed to make sure that we took a look at our records retention schedule. For those of you that aren't familiar with the records retention schedule, it's really the backbone of our records management program because it identifies all the district records that we either create or receive throughout our regular course of business. And our records retention schedule helps us identify those records. It tells us which department owns the record. It provides a unique identifier to each record so that we can retrieve those records as we need to. It does provide a name, a brief description about that record, and more importantly, also provides the legal citation, which identifies the legal or regulatory time period that we need to keep those records. So changes to the records retention schedule are really just kind of reorganizing this into a department schedule. So that way each department, as they need to look at their records, can just pull up their section of the retention schedule and look at theirs. There were some minimal changes to the citation updates that you see. This retention schedule was also reviewed by each department manager and staff, was also reviewed by our management. And again, we sat down with our outside legal counsel and reviewed all the different changes as well to make sure that everything was applicable and accurate for you. So these reviews also looked at the content of the record, regardless of what format it was or how it was stored or what media was there. And the approval of this retention schedule update basically accomplishes the fact that there's this systematic management of our records. It's crucial information asset management process that should be governed by formal procedures and not just the discretion of individual employees within each department. We make sure that all records are identified, protected, and dispositioned within the regular course of our business. And we also make sure that the district is not in compliance with records management best practices and current practices, as well as government statutes and regulations. And importantly, it also helps provide for the necessary transparency for all of our constituents through our public records program. There is no fiscal impact. So at this point, I'd like to read the recommendation that the board approve and authorize the implementation of the 2025 records retention schedule. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great, thank you. Any questions? I just have one or two. Couple questions really quick.
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, where is it that we host a lot of these records? I mean, a lot of it's electronic, some of it's physical. Where is that?
There's a combination of the two. Prior to the pandemic, it was kind of traditionally a hard copy or a paper version. Since the pandemic, we've transitioned to a lot of electronic records. Probably about 90% of what we produce now is electronic. And we do have active records that are here on site. We have inactive records that we are storing with our record storage vendor. Remember, we renewed that contract back in March of this year. So we have about 2,100 boxes in storage right now that are in various stages of the retention schedule. And so in parts of their storage. So we do have, I want to say, about 800 boxes that are scheduled for destruction this year. So that'll reduce that amount a little bit.
And then I can read these charts pretty well and I see the codes, but just out of curiosity, for example, like what does it mean, when we have the superseded? What does that mean?
That'd be like, for example, a policy that is in place, but then it gets reviewed. And so then the existing policy is superseded then with the new changes for that policy.
And then when it says like superseded +6.
That means the policy that was superseded, we will keep that for an additional 6 years after the date it's superseded, just in case we need to reference it. And it's also part of our regulatory compliance as well.
And then one other one too is where it's closed, it's CL closed.
Yeah, that usually refers to like a contract or something like that, where it comes to a closed date. So once that's closed, we'll keep it for the additional number of years afterwards.
I know they're simple questions, but it's really interesting.
No, those are great questions. I appreciate those.
Codes. And at the end of the day, you all somehow manage this. Like, what do you have like an electronic, I don't know, a dashboard, something? How do you?
I do. We actually have a couple of different databases that we manage, that way we can see all the different records that we have in storage, and then as different departments have different requests on different things, then we can search that database and retrieve those records for them and use them in their course of business.
Got it. Okay, wonderful.
Where is the storage division? I mean,
We actually use a vendor, a local vendor, so that we have records in 2 different warehouses, one out in Pico, and the other one in Montebello. And we try to keep those separate, so that way, if something does happen in one warehouse, we still have other records taken care of, so. And on a fairly regular basis, we actually go out and audit those warehouses as well, just to make sure that they're up to par and they have all the different safety systems in place to help protect our records as well.
Very good question. But also, I'm assuming they're probably secure and climate controlled and all these things that have to be.
They certainly are, yeah, and have all the different fire response levels that are necessary for us. They actually have 2 different types of storage as well. We have one that's in a regular warehouse with all the different racking, and then all of our permanent records are actually in a secure climate and humidity control storage facility as well within the warehouse. So that way those aren't subject to all the different weather changes that would happen in a regular warehouse. So those stay nice.
Very good. Well, I'm glad you're managing that. Yeah. I don't want to deal with that.
There you go.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, and don't get me wrong, we understand it's extremely important, especially as a public agency.
You bet.
Don't want to lose stuff or get it burned or stolen or, people get access. And of course, we can find it easily, hopefully, right? So, all right. Well, we got a little education there too. So thank you very much. With that, any other questions? No. All right. I would say we move this forward with recommendation of yes to the board. The Director Pavai said yes. So we're good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to go to 5F as in Frank. Consideration for reimbursement of eligible travel expenses over 90 days. We hardly ever get anything like this one, but go ahead, Mr.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you are correct. We rarely do see this. I have had the opportunity to discuss this with the employee. And so we are bringing it forward. For the presentation, we do have Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration, Board Secretary.
Good afternoon again, committee and board members. As noted, this item begins on packet page 88. West Basin Municipal Water District has an established policy pertaining to expense claims submitted by employees for reimbursement. Per the Administrative Code, Section 3-8.107, reimbursement of expenses, all claims shall be submitted within 90 days after the expenses incurred. Reimbursement for claims submitted after 90 days must be approved by the Board of Directors. As such, we are requesting board approval for reimbursement for the cost of eligible business travel expenses for staff member Gus Mesa. Copies of the expense reports and supporting documents are included as attachment A, which begins on packet page 90, and attachment B, beginning on packet page 97 for your review. An overview of the business purpose of the meetings is noted. A request from September of 2024 for cost of airfare to attend the Water Smart Innovations Conference with a reimbursement requested of $123.96, as well as a request from September 2024 through January of 2025 for various mileage reimbursements with a reimbursement request of $423.78. With that, I would like to read the recommendation. That the board consider approving a reimbursement to Gus Mesa for eligible travel expenses relating to the Water Smart Innovations Conference in the amount of $123.96 and mileage expenses for various events on behalf of the district in the amount of $423.78 for a total reimbursement amount of $547.74. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any questions, Director Pavai?
No.
And I have no questions. And in all honesty, I was only making light of it because I think in 10 years, we've only had this once or twice, usually from a director, not a staff member, but it's very rare. And of course, we should reimburse him. By the way, I remember he was going to that conference. He did a great job. So, I have no issue with that. It's just funny when you get those rare things that come through and you're like, when did I have to deal with that? So I recommend this moves forward with a approval of yes from the committee.
Yes.
And we'll do that. So thank you, EJ. Thank you, staff, for that. All right, now we got the information calendar, item 6A, annual disclosure of reimbursements.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item will be presented by Stephanie Soto, our accountant one, and begins on packet page 99.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, Chairman Houston, members of the board, and members of the committee. I'm here to present the information on the district's annual disclosure of reimbursements for the fiscal year 2024 through 2025. On packet page 99 should be agenda item 6A. The memo shares a brief summary and background of why we have to disclose the report. Per California Government Code, the district shall at least annually disclose any reimbursement of at least $100 for each individual charge for services or products received. The finance team has reviewed all of staff and directors' reimbursements for the fiscal year and identified the reimbursements where the single charge exceeds the $100 threshold. You will find this list as attachment A in your board packet, page 100. And this concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good, thank you. Any questions, Director? Bye-bye.
No.
I have no questions. So thank you for that report that we have to do. So now we'll move on to 6B as in boy, our monthly financial report. EJ.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this presentation will be handled by both Stephanie Soto as well as Stephanie Clemente.
Stephanie's.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon again. I will be presenting item number 6B, the monthly financial reports. As required by West Basin's Administrative Code, staff is required to submit various financial reports to the Board of Directors to keep them apprised of the financial condition and future needs of the district. With that, I will be going over the monthly demands list, which you will find on packet page 104. This is for the period ending July 31st, 2025, and includes all the payments made for the month for district operations. The report concludes on page 108 and shows that we had $36,375,498 of expenditures for the month. This amount may seem high compared to last, but we did have our semi-annual bond payment made this month, which was $17.2 million. This payment is usually larger than the one made in January because it includes the principal plus interest. Also, $12.7 million was our monthly metropolitan bill, which accounts for 35% of the overall spend in the month of March. And that includes the demands list, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good, thank you. Any questions?
No.
I have no questions on this time. So go ahead.
The next item is the cash and investments report, which I will hand off to Stephanie C.
Thank you. Good afternoon, committee and chair. The next report is a cash investment report starting on page 110. As of July 31st, 2025, our total portfolio market value is 56.6 million. This is down from last month's balance of 76.3 million due to our semi-annual bond payment. Also on this page is a breakdown of the various security types that make up our market value. The next two pages are our credit quality and maturity. And on pages 113 to 124 are the transaction ledgers for the month and the glossary. And that concludes the report for the cash investments. If you have any questions.
And is it 56 million or 58 million? Total market value.
As of June 58. It was 58.
Oh, okay, right. $58,610,574. That on page 110. Right, okay. I just want to make sure. Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then I'm going to have Stephanie go ahead and do the travels report.
Thank you. I'll be presenting attachment D, the Director's Conference and Travel Expense Report, which is found on packet page 125. This is for fiscal year 26, and the report is through July of 2025. We currently have an annual budget of $75,000. We have expensed $4,749 with 75 cents, which leaves us with a remainder of $70,250 with 25 cents. Next, I will present the Executive Management and Staff Travel Expense Report. This is for fiscal year 26 through July of 2025. Our annual budget is $101,000. We have expensed $1,004.46 so far, which leaves us with the remaining balance of $99,995 with 54 cents. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Let's see, Director Pavai, any questions on anything?
No.
Okay,
We have one
I
more.
was gonna say, wait a minute, I think we got something else here.
Yeah. Monthly water sales report. Starting with the imported water or retail. for the month of July, which is the first month of the new fiscal year 2026. This also includes our new rates. Our imported retail budget remains the same as last year at 80,000 acre feet. The total acre feet for July is 8,071 acre feet, which is lower than FY25 and the budget. The next table below is our imported barrier. The imported barrier fiscal year 2026 budget also remains the same as last year at 6,050 acre feet. July's acre feet is 664, which is lower than fiscal year 25, but higher than budget. And then finally, on the next page, we move on to recycled water. The recycled water fiscal year 2026 budget has increased from 32,221 acre feet to 34,988 acre feet. That's 2,767 more than last year. And for the month of July, the acre feet is 22,761, which is lower than budget and slightly higher than fiscal year 25. And below that is the breakdown of the recycled water barrier, recycled water, which is the barrier, refineries, and disinfected tertiary acre feet for July. This concludes the agenda number 6B. I'm glad to answer any questions.
Very good. Any questions?
No.
And I don't have any questions. It's pretty clear here. So with that, thank you very much for the reports. Let's see. We have no closed session today. Director's comments or future agenda items. Director Favalle, any comment?
No.
Okay. Director Deere, any comments? He's still here? Checking. I know he's on mute. If we don't get him, it'll be okay. But with that, I don't have any further comments. I really do want to say thank you for all the work as always. And thank you, Stephen, too, for enlightening us on what you're doing in your department. Much appreciated. And let's see, with that, our next scheduled meeting is September 16th, 2025. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.